so they just set. They decided that they're gonna dig in and make this more of a home, and it starts almost immediately. And within a few short months, fast forwarding in a montage, we see um, a village, a goblinoid village, with most doorways being able to fit a hobgoblin-sized creature. Um, Bugbears don't have a problem slipping in the smaller doors because the caverns on the other side, the tunnels on the other side, are all carved large. They had to because they pulled the stone through, and so it had to be a larger tunnel, and all of the tunnels ended up being that size. So once you get in past these smaller doors, the bugbears have room to stretch out. But we see this carved village pop up in the side of this cliff face. It goes almost all the way to the top with different doorways, windows, tunnels, areas carved into it. And near the back of one of the tunnels, one of the first tunnels, is a fairly large size room. Um, I would say cavern, but it's not natural. And it has the stone in the center of it, and a bunch of carved seats, and it tends to be where um, people go to reflect on nature, on the needed violence to survive, um, recite prayers, or even just eat food. Like it's the largest common room. Is this room with the meteorite at its center. And the gem begins to be people start referring to it as Falgun, um, as that is essentially in the old goblin tongue, that's the word for faith stone.
You say Falcon?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, with a G.
Falgoon,
Yeah.
Faithstone, okay.
Falgoon?
Yeah.
Am I saying that right? All right.
Um, there has been talk of seeing if people could chip away some of the stone to create religious relics, essentially, that they could carry with them, whether it's jewelry or whatever. But so far, the more faithful among you have kept that to a minimum, kept the talk and the action to a minimum.
Okay, so we're not like divvying it up at all by any means. We're just trying. That's just what people are trying to think of
Yeah,
doing. They're not.
people have talked about it,
Mm-hmm.
and but it hasn't been more than talk so far.
Okay.
The faith militant, the people who are essentially worshiping Falgun, um, wouldn't hear of it, and they're armed. Normally, inside the village that you had set up before, weapons weren't carried because why would you need them? They're all thrown in a pile or kept close by, but nobody carries their weapons. The faith militants here in Rockface um, have begun to stay armed.
Hmm.
Um, yeah,
Oh.
you, Karuk, have
Mhm.
noticed that your friend Tegun has been acting very strange. I mean, over the last couple months, well, last year and a half, um, since he first looked into Falcon, um, he's been acting different, but it's been getting stranger and stranger and stranger. He's become even more militaristic and cold, um, more um, severe. There's been talk of the main core of the cultists um, being far more violent with people that break the rules or break the laws of the city of Rockface. Um, and there hasn't been any proof of it, but sometimes talk is serious, right? Sometimes it's real.
Hmm. I'd want to go see what they're doing, like what, check in on them, see if they're doing all right. 'Cause they have been, like you said, getting more cut off and cold and militaristic.
Yep.
So just kind of check in and see how they're doing in relation to all of this. How, since we've moved and relocated and kind of cropped into where we are now.
As you make your way through the tunnels, you have to kind of push to the side so that people pass you, because while the tunnel sizes are okay for a bugbear, you're also a large bugbear and you take up most of the passage. So you kind of step aside as people walk by you with gear or resources or food or whatever. You make your way back into the larger antechamber, the larger chamber right before the gemstone, and you can see here in the dark, because you got widening torches, y'all can see in the dark. You can see that glimmer of light from the center of the stone as it flickers just slightly. You also hear chanting and a squelching sound, like something being cut into, but you don't see it from where you are.
I'd want to go check it out. I'd want to go see what it is.
As you make your way back, you know that there is a handful of chambers off the back of this large chamber, usually where the believers have begun to live and stay in some of these small rooms. But the scent of blood pulls you to one of the larger rooms back here. And as you make your way back and you kind of make your way around corners, um, I'm gonna wait until he gets back, but you walk down a hallway and you see, and we'll wait for a second.
Okay. Dun dun. Dramatic pause.
Dramatic pause.
Your dog is trying to hold me hostage to give him scratches.
To give him scratches.
He's bullying me
He's
for butt
bullying
scratches.
you.
Yes.
Nimoy just wants love.
You know what's silly?
No.
I built him, like, I went and got some really tough brushes, like the very firm brushes, and a bunch of command strips that are strong command strips, and I put 2 brushes at his level so he has something to rub against, and
Like those cow things.
and he hates them.
No.
He doesn't even try them, and I like try to get him close so that he can see that they're, and he's like nope, nope.
Not doing it.
I'm hoping that he figures it out soon because they're
We
very
should have
firm.
put it somewhere that he often rubs against.
I mean, other than putting him on the couch.
That's fair.
Okay, so as you walk down this smaller hallway, you see a group of 5 or 6 hobgoblins and maybe 1 or 2 goblins, all wearing dyed dark clothing, but it's not all the same, right? It's not a whole bunch of, it's not everybody bought the black robe from Kmart, right? It's clothing that they already had or that they got from one of the raids that has been dyed dark colors. And you can see that just from where you're looking, they all have painted across their face a form of blue to turquoise, and you're not sure where they would have got those colors because it's a very kind of bright, focused colors. Most of the paint you guys have is in browns, maybe a yellow if you can find the right flowers or berries. But this is like a bright color, and 2 of them, Tegun and Rudan, are on the floor holding down and butchering a lamb, like a baby sheep. And the chant is it's a very religious sounding chant. And you're kind of standing in the entryway. It's not really a doorway because there's no door, but the entryway. You take up most of the entryway.
I am conflicted in this moment.
Your tribe, as far as you
Mhm.
know, in the amount of time that you've grown with this tribe, since you and your parents got kind of like attached to it,
Mhm.
the worship of Grukek
Mhm.
has never included sacrifice. This kind of sacrifice. There's
Right.
plenty of other sacrifice, plenty of other pain. There are some traditions of like standing on a tall stone for days on end to sacrifice that portion of yourself and your time and your pain.
Hmm.
But you haven't seen anything like this.
Well, then I'm curious, and I'm gonna inquire about why they're doing it, why they feel the need to.
There's silence that once you kind of start talking and people realize that you're standing there, a sharp silence, like breaking glass, as everybody stops what they're doing and slowly turns to face you. And it's one of those creepy horror movie moments where everyone is focusing on you and you realize you may not have thought about that situation in the dark with fresh blood on the ground, but they all turn to face you. Varog, you're not sure when these sacrifices started, but it was what was called for. Um, it's what faith demanded, and it is what, I mean, short of saying, it's what the voice foresaw and requested. It's what the voice requested.
I think you're on mute. Sorry. There we go.
All we are doing, we do for Krugek. We must help Krugek. It is our mission. It's the only way.
This is just a new occurrence. This hasn't had any precedent before. How and did he call for this? Is this from him?
This is what is required for Krugek.
I
That's all I
feel
need to know.
out of character. I think that Croak would want. I don't know. I feel like he'd go along with it. Almost.
Okay.
Just because at this point, you know, he's gone through all of these, like, you know, sacrifices, like you had said before in the past, that this could just be another aspect of it.
All right.
He trusts his homie.
Yeah, exactly. Like, we've been homies, you know, if he's saying that this is what we gotta do, it's what we gotta do. And he was the one to initially, you know, make contact in a way, so.
Krugek, we must. I know it's hard, but we must.
If you say we must, then I will follow. If you say it's from him, then we will do what we need to do.
I nod.
Loving the severe look, by the way, Justin. You're so serious. Which is awesome. Okay, so the sacrifice, when completed, joins the brown. So it's not like it's being wasted. Parts of it are being burnt as offering to the stone in the large chamber, and the rest ends up getting added to meals.
Hey.
Raids haven't been happening as often, and all things being equal, while some goblins are farmers and fishermen, your tribe is not. Your tribe doesn't farm. Your tribe doesn't fish. Your tribe doesn't hunt. Not traditionally. And so it's not long before the sacrifices begin to add up. And before some of the animals that may have provided more meat later on down the road are next on the chopping block for the faithful. And that begins to be noticed, and some of the elders begin to speak up against it. And it has almost come to blows a couple times with the 30 or 40 truly faithful and the others who are not quite so much. And the faithful, for a little while, kind of roll back a little bit. They soften around the edges. They try a couple different approaches, and you can tell, Karuk, just by the energy in the air, that it's not working. That something is off. That something is brewing in the rock face. And that's where we're gonna stop for a break. And I'm gonna go ahead and use the restroom and get some food in me, and then we will be back. I don't have a prep video, and I don't have Mark's buttons, and he's not here. So, I am going to go ahead and just leave this be and not mute us, and then when people are back, we can talk about whatever. But I'm gonna go eat. So let's plan on being back. Maybe 10 minutes, like 8:05.
Sure.
Sounds good.
Okay.
Spicy eye.
Okay. And he's back with an exploding bottle of alcohol.
It's what I play when I
Oh,
do
no.
Fireball in
That's
D&D.
That's my vice. Or it's not. It's I can't drink that anymore.
No.
It's just the wrong word.
That's your fireball emote?
Yeah.
Nice. Okay, so it has become noticed, and the energy is not great in Rockface.